Those who don't know, the Black Dinner is the sort of historical event that the Red Wedding on Game of Thrones is based on, and I know there's a lot of information out there already about it, but I thought I'd just sort of set the scene before the Black Dinner for you. And central to the story are the Earls of Douglas, who in the 15th century were a powerful noble family in Scotland and even took part in the 100 Years' War fighting for the French. This was a turbulent time in Scotland, mainly because many of their kings had been captured by the English in battle. For instance, in the 14th century, David II was captured by the English, but he failed to pay his ransom. And many of the nobles began fearing that the English would use this as a sort of claim to invade. So the rebellion broke out and the Earls of Douglas took part. However, Douglas's rival, Robert II, took the throne. He was from the Stuart household, and in 1406 the throne passed neatly down to James I. Well, that's a lie. His elder brother was probably killed by his uncle, the Duke of Albany, and the Duke of Albany made an alliance with the Earls of Douglas. But this alliance didn't last very long because many of them were captured by the English in battle. So this should have really set James up to take the throne, but he was sent to France for safety. However, en route he was captured by the English, so the Scottish didn't really have a king for about 18 years. This time in the north of Scotland, the Lord of the Isles governed the sort of Outer Hebrides independently, and the Earls of Douglas began to grow rich from taking money from customs. James was released, he began to move against Murdoch Stewart, the Duke of Albany and Governor of Scotland during this period. And in 1424 he was blessed because in the same battle both the Earl of Douglas and Murdoch's brother, who was also a powerful general, were killed. In 1437 James was killed by his great uncle Walter Stewart, and James II was just a boy when he took over. So I hope you can see during this period political killings were commonplace. Because there weren't many nobles of age, Archibald, the 5th Earl of Douglas, was made the Governor of Scotland. However, William Crichton was made Chancellor of the Exchequer, and Alexander Livingston sort of ruled the king in a way because he held the keys to Stirling Castle. This split of power remained until 1439 when Archibald died, and William, who was just 16 at the time, became the new Earl of Douglas. So Livingston and Crichton decided to try and remove their old rival once and for all, and invited William and his younger brother to Edinburgh Castle. Edinburgh Castle they had a feast, and according to legend a black bull's head was given to the young brothers, which symbolised death. And even though the young king disagreed with the killing of them, they were marched outside, given a mock trial and executed. William's great uncle became the new Earl of Douglas, and they lost a great deal of land. But they weren't exactly over, because the 8th Earl of Douglas was able to gain favour with the king once again. This is where it gets a little bit complicated, because in the 1440s, 1450s, a noble attacked a Douglas ally. In response, the Douglases attacked his castle, and in response, while the Douglases were away in Rome, the king confiscated their land. So the Douglases began to form alliances with nobles like the Lord of the Isles. In 1452, the king invited the Earl of Douglas to meet with him to try and get him to break this alliance. However, the Earl of Douglas refused, so the king and several men attacked him, apparently struck him with a pole axe and threw him out the window. So the Douglases once again rose up against the king, and interestingly, with the Lord of the Isles in the north, they signed the Treaty of Westminster in 1462, which said in the event of an English invasion, the Douglases and the Lord of the Isles would split the country between them, but of course this invasion never happened.